What's happening, people? I hope you're all well. So, is this the end for Joyce? Is this the end of Joyce's career? And my answer would be probably yes, at any decent level. And it's pretty crazy how we got to this point because Joyce at one point was seen as one of the best heavyweights in the division, and also someone who could challenge the established top, let's say top three, top four. I remember people saying Joyce would run for Anthony Joshua. I remember people saying Joyce would destroy, who were they saying? They were saying he would be Anthony Joshua. I remember there was plenty of that. I remember people saying that Joyce would probably beat the likes of, or give Tyson Fury a hard fight. I remember people saying that Joyce would, you know, if you would beat Deontay Wilder. That's another one. The names are coming back now. You know, a couple of years ago, Joyce would run through Anthony Joshua. He would beat Deontay Wilder. These are the type of names, and people were saying he'd give Fury a hard night. And people were also saying that, you know, he would give Usyk a hard fight. So we've gone from that to Joyce losing to Derek Chisora. How do we get to this stage? Well, I think bad matchmaking, and I think it's ironic because Frank Warren is actually known for good matchmaking, and generally speaking, Frank Warren actually is pretty good at matchmaking. He's pretty good. So I think a lack of care is maybe a part of it, because let's have it right. Frank Warren always favored Daniel Dubois over Joyce, even after Joyce beat Dubois. Dubois, I think, in his next two fights was fighting for a version of the heavyweight title, albeit I believe it was the regular, but still, why wasn't Joyce maneuvered into a position to fight for the regular? And so you could see that Frank Warren 100% wanted Joyce to lose that fight to Daniel Dubois. And I even remember, ironically, you know, when they have like the gloves are off, when Frank Warren did, you know, when Queensby did their version of that, with Daniel Dubois and Joyce sat across the table to each other. Frank Warren was on Daniel Dubois' side, and I'm thinking, hold on a minute. Aren't both of these guys your fighters? So it was clear as day that Frank Warren wanted Daniel Dubois to win that fight. And when Joyce won it, when Joyce won that fight, Warren was not happy. So I don't know if, you know, and I say that to say this, I don't know if Warren always held that against Joyce. I don't know. I'm not there. So, you know, don't come at me. I'm just throwing ideas out there. I don't know if Warren just always had a lack of care, because he really did care about Dubois and still does. Maybe there's a lack of care with the matchmaking. I don't know. But someone has dropped the ball here, because Joyce didn't become rubbish overnight. Joyce was damaged against Zhilei Zhang, in my opinion. Now, Joyce was in a position, he just beat Joseph Parker. People were saying he could beat Joshua, he could beat Wilder, he could give Fury and Usyk a run for their money. And what do? They throw him in there with Zhilei Zhang for no reason. He was in a good position to fight for a title, and all he needed to do was sit on his position. And I know people say, oh, you should fight all comers, but sometimes you've got to be smart with it. They put Joyce in with Zhilei Zhang for no reason. There was no reason to take that fight. Zhilei Zhang was a risk, and the stylistic matchup was awful, because Zhilei Zhang's a puncher. He's a southpaw. Southpaws are hard to look good against if you're a pressure fight because of the angles. And they put him in there with Zhilei Zhang twice, and it ruined his career. I mean, after the first fight, they kind of had to take the second fight. But you get what I'm saying? They put him in with Zhilei Zhang for no reason. The other thing was they then put him in with Derek Chisora. Now, Derek Chisora, I know Derek Chisora is, you know, past his best, but Derek Chisora in some ways has become like he's almost known as a guy who he's almost like a legend figure in English boxing, but he's also not seen as the cream of the crop. And I respect everyone that gets in the ring. You know, I respect everyone that gets in that ring. But Derek Chisora is seen. I'm not saying I take it this way or I see him this way. You know, I box at, you know, a much lower level, so I respect every man that gets in the ring. I don't know what their level is, but I do know what it is to have a guy try and knock you out. So I respect everyone that gets in the ring. But I'm just saying most people haven't, and the majority see Derek Chisora as a fighter that's not the cream of the crop. But I know that styles make fights, and someone else must know that who's handling Joe Joyce. So they put Joe Joyce in with Derek Chisora, a guy where there's nothing to gain, everything to lose, and it's a bad stylistic matchup again. Like, because Derek Chisora, he moves his head, he's hard to actually hit clean. People say all these things about Chisora. He is hard to hit clean. And, you know, Derek Chisora, he slings those overhand rights, which is a punch Joe Joyce seems to always get caught with. It was a bad stylistic matchup. Joe Joyce doesn't move his head. He's a sitting duck for overhand rights. What's Derek Chisora's favourite punch? It's disastrous matchmaking, and Derek Chisora's hard to hit clean. It's disastrous matchmaking. So this has got us to where Joe Joyce is now. And do I think Joe Joyce's career is over? Probably. I actually am of the minority who think that Joe Joyce could be competitive against top heavyweights still and maybe cause an upset on his night. But the marketing, you know, to lose to Derek Chisora is poor marketing. People are going to run a mile from Joe Joyce now because he is still somewhat dangerous, but he's just gone and lost to Derek Chisora, who people just seem to have it in their heads. Derek Chisora is not the cream of the crop. I actually think Chisora can do some stuff, but most people don't think that. So you're going to go up against a guy who's lost to Derek Chisora, but he's still dangerous. So I think it's a long road back for Joe Joyce. I don't see him winning a heavyweight title now, and I don't see him really competing at the top level. And it's all down to bad matchmaking, and it's all down to bad management, in my opinion. A couple of years back, Joe Joyce was, you had a heavyweight who could have gone on to do something with good matchmaking. But anyway, let me know what you think about what I said in this video. I think it's the end for Joe Joyce at any serious level. Let me know what you think. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, hit the notification bell so you get a notification when I make a new video. If you appreciate my work and want to leave a donation, there's a link for that in the description. There's a link for that in the description. And enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you on the next one.